What kind of raffle? They do not have separate fishing group for all the They went to buy prizes last year, okay? And they gave them the credit card to buy, for the fishing. And it they will not give Catholic kids travel.
What's wrong, Connie? Any help?
I needed to go down.
Break down.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Somebody set the checker.
No, I hit the wrong button.
I'll tell you, he's the only one that can.
Make sure it's okay before we give up on it.
Yeah, that's good. My little handle moves.
Because he doesn't have
Probably
You got a broken hand.
needs to tighten somewhere.
Yep. Well, one of mine is too.
So I wouldn't know. I was tired last night.
Hey, that was weird that he started asking about the same thing wrong, didn't he?
I thought those were all his questions. I seriously did. That's why I sent the text. I sent him a text. I wanted to say, that's stupid.
At least it's cooler in here, right?
I'm gonna make an amendment to cut 1% out of the line. Where's Eric at? Hey, Steve.
Things that are not. It's very reasonable. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
to eat that stuff.
I'd like to call this meeting out of recess for Tuesday, March the 10th. Madam Clerk, the roll call, please.
Mr. McCready. Here. Ms. Cole. Here. Mr. Brown.
Present.
Ms. Tuck. Here. Mr. Huffman.
Here.
Mr. Reynolds.
Present.
Mr. Rexroth.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here.
Mr. Polkowski.
Here. I'd like to turn it over to Mayor Joyce and Mr. Giles and see if they have any further comments.
Yeah, I'll start and I'll let Eric go. With regards, there was a couple of speakers last night at the public hearing that I wanted to address some of those comments. One of which was with regards to Old Man Rivers, and if you recall, it's been, I don't know, a couple months ago, somebody made a motion to increase the allocation of the appropriation, and I said there's other means to get there. My position on that hasn't changed. I would remind you that with regards to our CDBG annual funding, we should know, Ryan, would you tell me, end of this month, what our appropriation will be from the federal government, and that is certainly an eligible activity. So I would just wanted you to know that if that is something that council is still supportive of with regards to Old Man Rivers, that to me would be the most logical source of an appropriation from the city of Parkersburg to that particular program. And then there was another series of comments, questions last night that during the public hearing that I'm going to let Eric address. Thank you, sir.
So there was handed to me last night, a request for budgetary clarification. And I just want to go over some of the things because there's a lot that was mentioned that is inaccurate. I just want to make sure that these things are presented to you cleanly as they are right in front of in your budget. So the first one was suggesting that there's a revenue variance, stating that, I'm just going to read it. The proposed budget projects $2,761,200 in base sanitation revenue. And if you want to follow along, it's on page 82. If not, that's fine. $11,276,000. What specific factors account for the $514,800 variance between the projected billing and the budget revenue? Well, there's a few things wrong with that. Number one is the $21 monthly rate. The sanitation rate that you all passed was $19.50, not $21. And the basis for the budgeted number, the average units billed annually is 11,800. And that's, if you do the math, based on the 1950 in the budget, 1950 times 11,800 comes up with $2,761,200. So, the variance is, the math is incorrect here. Number two was recycling surcharge surplus. Suggesting the monkey contract guarantee for 900 units at $15.25 a month equals an obligation of $13,725 per month. That is correct. A $1.50 surcharge across 13,000 units generates $19,500 a month. Again, incorrect number of units, 11,800. Question: why is the surcharge set at $1.50 rather than the $1.06 required to meet the contract obligation? Is there any portion of the surplus being used to retire debt or offset losses from the material recovery facility? So number one, there is no debt for the MRF. There's no debt for the MRF. And number two, losses were already offset by sanitation fees. They're covered. There are no losses that need recovered. And so that leads into number three here, which was optional recycling subscription fee. The $3 optional recycling fee is collected by the city rather than passed directly to the contractor. Question: since this is city collected revenue, what is the total projected annual collection from the $3 fee? Again, in the budget, the $3 a month fee based on 1,330 customers. Okay, that number is an estimate taken from as the city of Huntington as a basis. They have more population. They have 1,350 subscribers. So we are a recycling town. We've done it for years. Huntington was not before their subscription service came into place. So with our population, we anticipate that we can probably reach 1,330 subscribers. So and at 1,330 subscribers, as it is in your budget, that comes to $47,880 a month. Okay. Please provide an audit trail confirming these funds are dedicated strictly to recycling services and are not commingled to offset general fund deficits. So we can't provide an audit trail because we haven't started billing it yet. But we will. We get audited every year. Now, the other piece of that is, so they are not commingled to offset general fund deficits. Well, number one, the general fund's balanced. There's no deficit. Okay. Number two, the no commingling, I mean, it's in its own fund. So it's not general fund, it's an enterprise fund, sanitation fund. So there's zero commingling of anything going on. And it's as transparent as possible, being in its own fund. 4 was the transition to private contracts resulted in the elimination of former sanitation positions. Question: specifically, how are the salaries for the positions being absorbed into the parks and flood wall departments being funded? Is the sanitation enterprise fund paying for these positions, or has the burden been shifted to the general fund? We went over that. They're in the general fund. Revenue recovery protocol: the city utilizes the court system and property liens to recover delinquent sanitation fees. Number one, we do not lien the property, we lien the individual. Okay? We're not permitted to lien the does 100% of recovered principal interest and penalties stay within the sanitation enterprise fund? Or are these funds transferred to the general fund via management fees or other interfund transfers? So, no. The answer is no. Management fees cover a portion of the cost incurred by the general fund. That's it, just a portion. My staff responsible for billing and collections is over 200,000. Sanitation fee makes up 40% of that billing. So 40% of 200,000, do the math, 50,000 doesn't even cover the billing cost that we are incurring. And the other thing is simply this, and this kind of goes back to another thing, suggesting that sanitation fees paid for general fund employees' salary adjustments. That is 100% impossible without council appropriating a transfer from the sanitation fund to the general fund. It is impossible. And if we did that, that would be an audit finding. That would be a major budgetary compliance issue, and it does not happen. So, no, it doesn't happen unless council appropriates. Council has the authority to appropriate dollars, not the administration. So the answer to that is no. Finally, and I don't fully understand this, it said that there was administrative fee. Residents are billed $1.85 administrative fee to cover overhead and billing costs. I'm 100% aware of what this is. The only additional fee when it comes to paying a bill would be on an online payment. Now, it's $125, not $1.85. And that is a fee that is charged by and collected by the software vendor providing the hosting for the website payment collection system. The city never receives that money. And that is disclosed on the website of the payment system. It's disclosed right there. So, if that's what that's referring to, I'm not sure otherwise.
Mr. Giles, 185, I bet you that is from the 1765 to the 1950, the $1.85 delta between the contract with Waste Management and what we owe the customer. That, I believe that. I didn't look at it, but that would make sense.
Well, again, that is also not to cover overhead and billing costs. That is to cover the amount of accounts that do not pay on time. At the end of the day, we must collect enough cash to pay the bill. Okay? I can't force somebody, I can't go to their house and wring it out of them to get them to pay their bill. I just can't do that. But we do everything that we're legally capable of doing in a manner that's efficient for us. At the end of the day, if I bill $100, I might get 92. So I have to bill, if the bill I have to pay is $100, then I have to bill 110 to get $100 to pay the bill. That's what that is. So if that's what that's referring to, then that's the answer.
Maybe I can add also, so that ensures trash get picked up, right? Within the city. That $1.85 would ensure trash gets picked up.
It ensures we're able to pay the bill.
Pay the bill and the trash gets picked up. And then also, if there is any delta left over after collections, then it could be used, council would appropriate that money in ways they see fit, but to offset any future rate increases as well.
Correct, and regarding the full transparency of what we got set up here, there are separate line items for each class of revenue here. There's refuse collection fees, it's in a line item. There's subscription fees for recycling, it's in its own line item. There's a recycling surcharge line item to cover the $1.50. And on the expenditure side, there's a line item for refuse collection contractual services and a line item for recycling contractual services. I mean, it's right there. The amount of revenue collected for each activity and the amount of expense for each activity is right there. So it is disclose how much is being collected and paid for each one of those activities. That's all that was on this sheet. I just wanted to make sure that we clarified that for anybody who may have been confused by that.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds?
could you repeat that, Eric? What was on that sheet?
So, yesterday I was given a sheet.
Mr. Mayor?
I just, want to make one other point. It's not necessarily imperative for our purposes here this evening. You know, there was talk about a collection agency, and Eric pointed something out to me today that, you know, we don't use a collection agency. And, the way I understand it, and he was accurate, I spoke with a former colleague of mine that I used to be in partnership with. Once any account gets turned over to a collection agency, the way those contracts generally work, even if the person says, oh, I got this collection right here, I'm gonna call the city and square up my bill, we still owe that money. And quite frankly, I have not seen anything as of late, data-wise, you know, statistically, but I can tell you, your collection rates are very, very low once items go to collection. That's just the way it is. I mean, I think, you know, of course, my background is largely in the medical field, and there's a reason why Cam Clark has a full-time law firm out of Morgantown filing judgment liens over here in magistrate court on the regular, because they have figured out that that's essentially their collection mechanism. I mean, they use a law firm that basically does what the finance department does. So anyway, and then one other thing, and I debated this. Blaine and I talked about this as council considered Article 955 there a few weeks ago. You know, there's one thing that we don't do that may or may not be helpful in getting folks to pay their bills and pay them on time, and that is put their names out in public. We have never, to my knowledge, posted on our city website or in the paper. I would be categorically opposed to paying to put it in the paper, because then you're paying more money. But you know, that's something we could do. I don't know that, and I'm not trying to put Blaine on the spot. We talked about that as to whether or not that would require statutory authority to do that. You were kind of, but you know, that is a mechanism that we could do. I mean, you know, I think you know, it may be time just to craft an ordinance that says, you know, I would feel more comfortable doing it, since quite frankly, if somebody got embarrassed and mad, they'd be mad at 10 people instead of me. Throw things at all you people instead of just me. But that is certainly a mechanism that we've talked about it. You know,
Similar to property taxes being delinquent taxes.
yeah, I mean, you know, just but my advocacy would be to just post it on the city website. If you get 2 months in arrears or 3 months in arrears, quarterly, your name's going on the city, your name and address going on the city website. You owe the city, you know, I think my police fire, my utility bill's like $42 a month or something like that at my house. If I don't pay it, your name goes on the website. You know, I made the comment there that night, you know, there are people who come to our meetings and speak at our meetings that owe the city over $1,000. You know, now, well, they still certainly have the right to come, but that may be a mechanism that, so he'll draft any ordinance you guys tell him to draft. So if you guys want him to draft it, have at it. So that's all I have to say.
Mr. President?
Mr. Reynolds?
Tom, do we do the billing for the pub?
No, we do not.
We don't. Because it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the collection percentage that we collected, police, fire, and trash, was higher when the water bill and everything was on one bill.
So the pub does bill some sanitation fee on our behalf for rental units. Those transient units that we simply cannot keep track of, they can't, because it's associated with turning on and off the service. And so they bill and collect for, I think, approximately $600
We just haven't collected quite as much. The percentage of non-collectibles has gone up.
Actually, not to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
You're fine.
But a few years ago, we had a position dedicated to, we call it a customer service analyst or something. And it's 100% dedicated toward collections. And so our collections have improved over the last several years.
So go back prior to the formation of the pub. I think that was
I don't
probably before
recall.
you.
You have to ask them. They're the only ones who may have been around. Just a couple things. And again, I think your point is, you've supported each other's point there with regards to if the water and the problem, I think that I know the problem, the hurdle is gonna be, number one, the pub has a lot of customers that aren't city customers. That's why it's a utility and not the city of Parkersburg Water and Sewer Board. So there's that piece. And then the other side of it is, and Eric can talk about, there's case law that says, you can't make someone pay for a service that they didn't receive.
Right.
So, meaning so when you talk about collectability, when it really becomes collectible is when maybe they move and they want to get the water turned back on. So let's say when I moved from my house on 27th Street to where I live currently, I had water put in my name at the new house. Had my bill been, had I owed them money from when I lived on 27th Street, they'd say, you get square, we'll turn your water on. So, does that make sense? Huh?
With a deposit.
Right, but you see what I'm getting at? So I'm right on that, am I not? That so if someone says, I'm not paying my water bill, I'm not paying my sanitation bill, my police, whatever the assigned billing is, you really only collect it if and when they return to the pub as a customer. So if they move to Lubeck, it's only when they return to the pub as a customer that it becomes highly collectible. And I don't have, again, way before any of our time, I'm sure it was way better, back in the day, but that's just how it was. The city of Parkersburg, prior to the formation of the pub, didn't have to put out a contract to mow 300 vacant lots every summer either. Because people, I think now we're into the whole accountability thing, and but I believe that is when it becomes a benefit collectibles, when they move and then they want their water turned on at their new location, and they say, oh no. And honestly, it's amazing how many people file complaints with the pub. Or call the office, say they won't turn my water on because I didn't pay my bill 5 years ago.
Why couldn't we include a list of people that haven't paid the police and trash with the police and trash bill? And the water bill, water bill wouldn't be the same.
You talking about mailing it out? I'd rather,
That would be this thick per bill.
yeah.
Well, you put it in small print, you put it on a separate piece of paper, and you include it in with the.
I got that, it's 396 pages. Now, a lot of those are inactive. They've been written off, they're old. I guess the thing would be, if council, that's something you're supportive of, my recommendation would be pass some piece of enabling legislation. It could probably, I don't know, pretty much, it might just be a resolution, and then he can work on narrowing it, because there's no sense in putting somebody's name on if we know if they're dead.
Find out if they're dead or not.
Well, I'm just, but you know what I'm saying? Because he sent it to me just, last week or 2 weeks ago? It's 396 pages. But again, a lot of them are inactive accounts. They're very, very old. So, I don't know, it's just, it seems like we talked about this at the budget hearings in 2017. You guys were here. You were here.
I'm
probably
the one that I was talking about.
Yeah, it's just, it's, I don't know,
Well, nobody reads the newspaper, not many people do. I think it'd be a pretty ineffective way
record
of
reflected, that was Mr. Reynolds who said that?
advertising.
Yeah, I think the easy thing would be posted on our quarterly on our website. And he would want to make sure that his numbers were his report was hyper accurate.
Well, Mike, put them on the blacklist. Their house gets all fire. They're on the blacklist, let it burn. I mean,
Now, we're not gonna do that, Mr. Brown. And now, that was discussed when I was on, when I sat where Mr. Rexroth sits, that was discussed, why do we go show up? And, well, as the chief here, how do you feel about that?
I could see the sweat going down his forehead.
No, why not? He's not going for that, sorry. All right, sorry, I'll shut up.
So, I handed out to you prior to the meeting, it should be in front of you, and the proposed amendment for the certificate evaluation adjustment for this fiscal year. And again, the property tax rate, which is set by council the third Tuesday of April every year, is applied to the values that are determined by the assessor's office. And so they always get us their values after I hand the budget out to you. And so this reflects the updated values for the upcoming fiscal year. So in the general fund for revenue, current property taxes or property tax is projected to increase $141,048. And the excess levy is projected to increase $75,336 for a total of $216,384 increase in revenue. Appropriated as follows: $131,552 to the street fund, $75,336 to the transit authority, which is 100% of the additional revenue that we collect for them, and an increase of $9,496 to the Wood County Library, which is the statutory contribution that's based on the assessor's values. In the street fund, you'll see the $131,552 revenue coming in from the general fund, and that same amount being added to the $1.3 million for street improvements. Any questions? So that is the administration's proposed amendment.
Any questions from council? Mr. Giles, you have anything else for us?
Move the motion in a second and approval of that.
Mr. Retro.
Move to accept the proposed amendment from the administration.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, any discussion?
I didn't hear.
We have a motion and a second to accept these revisions.
Thank
Any
you.
discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, vote please.
Mr. McCready?
Yes.
Ms. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Tuck? Yes. Mr. Huffman?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Rexroth?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Kowski?
Yes. Amendment passes. At this time, if Mr. Giles and Mayor have nothing else, turn it over to council to see if they have any discussions or amendments they'd like to propose for the current fiscal year budget 26-27.
Mr. President,
Ms. Cool.
I'd like to propose an amendment. Page 54. I'd like to propose account number 568-063 to SW Resources, the amount of $10,000 taken from that. And Eric, you'll have to excuse me because, oh, yes, there it is, I'm sorry, I just not seen it. And move $10,000 to account number 568080, which is the American Legion Post 15.
I'll second that.
motion and a second to move 10,000 from, line item 568063 to line item 568080. Any discussion?
I'd like to explain why I'm proposing this, please, Mr. President.
Ms. School?
3 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, we was in a finance committee, which I chair, and it was brought up because we were closing to the American Legion, the city park, because we were going to be doing work, i.e. building the new rec center. At that point in time, in that meeting, we agreed, and council agreed, on vote later, to give the American Legion $10,000 a year, which we did. Then we agreed to give them another $10,000 for 2 more years after that, if they submitted the proper paperwork. Well, the average person with the American Legion age is 80 years old. These men, women, fought for our country. American Legion's having a tough time. They don't have the resource money that comes in like they used to. They're unable to go out and get funding. So I got a call from the American Legion yesterday. And, you know, they're just having a really rough time. And I know that normally we would not do this. But I want to make an exception in this because these men and women fought for our country. This is the only place that they have to go to have camaraderie. They can discuss. It's not going to be there much longer. It really isn't. You know, they don't have the money to sustain this. But I think that this $10,000 will give them a couple more years, that it's well worth it, because the American Legion post-15 has done so much for our community over the past 60 years and to our youth, but they can't afford to do it anymore. I don't think there's a person up here who didn't with the baseball teams, you know, at the city park. So I'm asking council to please approve this appropriation of $10,000.
Mr. President,
Mr. Moore?
yeah, I just want to say, for probably 8 years, I umpired baseball at City Park for American Legion. And they took care of everybody. And my dad was in it, and I just think it's a really good cause. And they took care of the umpires, and it was very well ran. And they just ran out of money because they couldn't do the carnival in the park no more. And they got a great situation going down there, and they tried. And another situation is about their flags, trying to keep them updated. So I'm really into this, and I really appreciate it. And that's
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Mr. President,
Ms. Tuck?
motion to approve the changing of the 10,000 from SW to the American Legion post-15.
We've had a first and a second. We're on discussion now, so if anybody would like discussion, if there's no more discussion, then we'll take a vote. Mr. Mayor?
I just want to point out, there's a couple things to consider here. I'm certainly not opposed to the American Legion, however, I understand the motion and everything, but, you know, SW Resources is an organization that serves some of the most vulnerable in the community. I recall back in '24 when, and I don't believe that it has changed, but they froze the IDD waiver amount. So as we all believe, and if you if your cost of living's not going up, then you've taken a step backward in how your standard of living. So, if council wants to approve this, I totally understand that, but, you know, there were two pretty impassioned speeches with regards to the American Legion, and, so I just wanna make sure that folks recognize that SW Resources, even though they've changed ownership, they still serve, again, a very vulnerable population, most of which are adults. I don't know what their youth programming is anymore, but, you know, I could, name off, probably a dozen individuals that I know who the SW Resources gave them purpose. You know, I'll give you a brief history lesson. Those of you who are old enough, Blaine and Connie, remember the Jones family. Connor Jones, he was in the machine business back in the day. Remember Connor had the machines, Matt and Zach and them's dad? He ponied up about $100,000 whenever they were founded, late 60s, early 70s, to start the SW Resources, because he had a special needs child and he didn't want him to sit in a bed 24 hours a day with nothing to do. So that's how it came to be. So if council approves this, make no mistake, we will have a revision coming up, and there will be proposed additional funding for SW Resources for your further consideration at that time. And the other piece, and again, I know this is politics, this is how things work, but SW Resources filled out the paperwork. They submitted an application, and maybe it's not the most accurate application, and if we start jumping outside the process on the regular, you know, I go back to my time serving with Mr. Reynolds, where it was a free-for-all for discretionary funding, you know. Everybody had a favorite, and so, not saying the American Legion's not of value, but to Ms. Cool's point, there was no promise that we'd fund them. There was a suggestion and recommendation that we do an application process for discretionary funding every year. SW Resources filled out the discretionary application. So that's all I have to say about that.
Mr. President,
That's cool.
I understand fully. I do not want to take away from SW Resources. However, I did read their application. And normally when we do discretionary funds, the person who has requested those funds, they come to City Council during budget hearings so that we can ask them questions. And I do have questions for them. And maybe if later on, the mayor and Mr. Giles wants to do another shot at giving them money, maybe they'll show up, because I still have questions. And unfortunately, they're not here to ask the questions. They serve 6 counties, not just Wood County. So, I hope council approves this for the American Legion.
I'd just like to say, wish I wasn't in this situation, have to decide between two worthy causes. I see both sides of it. I don't really want to take away from SW Resources. I have people I know that, like the mayor said, found purpose, and I also know people with the Legion. At this point in time, I'm not even sure how to vote. Maybe split the pie is appropriate, but this is certainly a tough one. So, anybody else have any discussion, questions, comments? Mr. Giles.
This is a suggestion, because this is a budget based on applications received. And, you know, there's still a year in revision to do this current budget. Okay, that's not this process. This process is very meticulous, it's very deadline oriented and built on that process. We mail out letters annually. In November, we collect these back, and at the end of December, they're reviewed, not outside of this formal process.
Any other comments, discussion, questions from council? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, vote please.
Mr. McCready?
No.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Ms. Tuck? No. Mr. Huffman?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
No.
Mr. Rexroth?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Bukowski?
No. Motion fails 5-4. Any other amendments, additions, corrections? I'd like to see the budget.
Mr. President.
Mr. Huffman.
I propose an amendment from that same line, page 54, 568063, to development line 230000, to establish. Oh,
He
sorry,
said slow
sorry.
down, Zach.
Yeah, page 54. So again, this is the SW Resources contribution. And my proposal is to move to development for a Market Street momentum fund to attract small business downtown. As we know, we all have had a lot of success downtown. And this program would allow up to 4 businesses a year to receive $2,500 to help with startup costs. And there is a facade grant out there that has money for new businesses as well, but you have to be the property owner. So this would make up for that gap, and that would be a total fund of $10,000 for 4 businesses at $2,500. And that's for any new businesses that would be coming this next year, not for anybody that's already there. And that's on Market Street to continue the momentum that we have downtown. We've had 14 new restaurants over the last 3 years, and this is the most progress I've seen in downtown in probably 15 years. So I'd just like to have a little bit of arsenal on me and a little ammo on me to help people when they're deciding where they're going to go, have them come to Parkersburg and invest into downtown. And this is just $2,500 isn't going to make or break their business, but it's a vote of confidence. It will let business owners that we are supporting them and that we believe in them, and that's my amendment.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. President.
Mr. Rexroth.
So when it came to both of these, when I heard about taking funds from SW Resources, I was kind of skeptical because, as has been pointed out, it's a very beneficial thing for our community. But as I think most of us know, it's a subsidiary of Goodwill, which is a private company, which we research, I think we're over $7 billion in 2025. So I think it would be a better use of city funds to help city projects, and the funding they need should maybe come from their parent company that makes quite a bit more revenue than the city of Parkersburg.
Thank you, Mr. Rexroth.
And I just wanted to point out also, looks like last year we contributed $8,000. So it's still, especially with the First Amendment not passing, they're still at $20,000 from $8,000. So I think it's a great step in the right direction while we're also thinking economic development for Market Street.
Mr. Mayor.
I would, if I, would the gentleman yield? Give me an idea as to what you, in your vision, as to what would be eligible. Two questions. Here's your $2,500, or give us receipts up to $2,500. how do you see that happening? Cause, and I say that, and I'm not gonna put him on the spot, but he'll have to run it to make sure that everything's above, you see what I mean? So,
And Mr. Barber and I, we have.
I understand that, but, so, and then what types of, what are eligible expenses?
I would say that's something that would still need to be worked out, with development department, but I can't think of any reasonable expense that wouldn't be covered. I mean, if you're starting a new business, you don't wanna be limited to, it can only be this or that. For each business, it's gonna be a different need, and they're gonna know what they need to spend that money on more than anybody to help them get opened.
Okay. Will the gentleman continue to yield?
Sure.
You're gonna love this one.
Here we go.
Somebody wants to open up a tarot reading card, or a, tattoo parlor. I don't know, what's our zoning say about go-go dancing downtown? You see what I'm getting at? I mean, so, and I'm not opposed to this, I wasn't necessarily opposed to the last one, but, you know, before a nickel is spent, there will be some rigid criteria, there will have to be, because I promise you, there's a philosophical component to this, which Ryan brought me as, you know, site development or site readiness component. So, you know, he's got on here things like traffic impact studies, drainage improvements, site grading and preparation, site access improvements. So that's like new construction stuff. You're talking about, I want to open up a comic book store.
Correct.
Or I want to open up a new restaurant.
Correct.
But again, I just, you know, because what has not been terribly, I go back to how we haven't done a 55 and older housing for a while, right? But if you do this, and again, it's not a lot of money. I believe me, I get it. Someone been $2,500. What would that have been to the steakhouse? Big bunch of, you know, whatever. But that you know, just be aware that there may be somebody who comes in and wants to do fortune telling. I don't even know. I mean, you know, there are members up there who begged me to tear down the A to Z bookstore 9 years ago. I was categorically opposed to it. They pulled my membership card. So, but I'm just saying, you just gotta be mindful of that. And then the other piece of it is, you know, I have contemporaries in Morgantown. You know, Huntington's trying to figure out how to pay for Pullman Square. I don't know if you've been following that. Our downtown has flourished under the current programs. You know, there's a lot of folks. I mean, I think to my friend, I love the Lebanese restaurant. They've been down there. Hell, Jackson was still alive. Mike Jackson was still alive when they opened. He's been dead 20 years almost. You know, so you'll hear some of that, just so you know. And you want development to run this program, right?
Yeah, and I fully expect there's gonna be limitations and parameters, of course.
I stand, if I may, sir, continue.
Go ahead.
It's just as far as to speak to the amendment. You know, I stand by what I said prior, you know, SW Resources, and I get it. Believe me, I get it. But I mean, hell, some of the highest paid people in society work for nonprofits. You know, but at the same time, you know, those folks at SW, I mean, I've said it before. I mean, I have a lot more. They need government assistance more than. I don't think there's a segment of society that needs a hand up from government more so than the folks at SW Resources. And the other piece of it is, you know, I go back to the home program, and not so much lately, but I can show you houses that the city put roofs on people's houses 10 years ago, and the house is still, you know, one bad month away from tear down. So when the first time that someone gets $2,500 of, again, this general fund money, this is your B&O, your B&O. And you know what I mean? This is the thing. So just be mindful of that. But, you know, I understand. I had a conversation with our state treasurer yesterday. And if you haven't been following Charleston, there's this butting of heads, gnashing of the teeth with regards to economic development. And you know, we have a governor who is categorically opposed to buying jobs and bribing people to come to, and I am too. Just got to get 49 other states to quit doing it. Get everybody else to quit doing it. So I kind of understand your viewpoint on this, and I certainly understand your comments, believe me. But that doesn't change the fact that SW Resources is that population that needs, you know, I remember anecdotally, my good friend, those of you who remember Sister Jeannie Colombo, talking about there's a special place in heaven for those people who take care of the elderly, mentally, you know, impaired. Because at some point, there's not going to be anybody left to take care of those people. And, you know, I worked res care one summer, and it's sad. Those people are, and I think the purpose that they get, and I know who Mr. Bukowski's talking about, the lady that we grew up with at St. Michael's Church. I mean, that is her entire world now since her brain tumor. Would you not agree? That's who you're talking about, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's all I have to say about that.
Mr. President.
Mr. Etheridge.
Just one thing, I realized when I was making my speech earlier, I misspoke. I wasn't skeptical of these amendments. It was when I was looking at the budget, going over it when we first got it, and I saw the line item, I was skeptical of that, and I kind of wrestled with that whole, do we take money from SW or not? I just want to clarify that because I misspoke. I was for both of these amendments from the get-go.
Mr. President.
Mr. Hubbard.
I am inclined to agree with the mayor, and I think that we need to have some perimeters, and I would like to change the amendment just to earmark the money until that program can be further looked into.
I might need some parliamentary advice on this. How would we go about doing this? Can I get a little bit of to earmark money?
I can.
I think the finance director has to identify a contingency or other line item to park that money. I wouldn't know, I would ask you.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can pick up within the general fund is contingency line item 699 on page 52. It's got $50,000 in right now.
Take 10 from that, leave that 40, and put it 10, or just take 10 of it and earmark it for this project.
I think his motion is to take 10,000 from SW Resources and add it to the contingency line item, but earmark that $10,000 for, until after there's some rules and perimeters put in place for receiving the money and applying for the money.
Correct.
So let me clarify. Within the general fund, there's no way to specify the purpose of that, okay? So unless you appropriate it towards something. And contingency line item it's not a put it in there for that. It's put it in there and only council can then take it out of there. Okay, so just keep that in mind that it doesn't automatically become purposed. In fact, it's not purposed. It's contingency. So at another time, it would need to be voted on by council to remove it out of that line item. Like I said,
earmark the contingency, could we just earmark 10,000 of the contingency fund for economic development downtown?
So, council quite literally can do whatever they want with this $50,000. Okay, so what the concept of earmark is not been present in the general fund, because the general fund is current operating expenses. Okay, and so if it's there, $50,000 there, and say later on, council wants to say, yeah, I want to take 10,000 of that contingency and put it towards this program, then that's council's discretion to do so, yes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Brown?
I don't believe we need to earmark any money. The money is set. If there is a resolution and if there is a business interested, we ought to entertain it at that time. We already have, if I'm right, we don't have manufacturing tax in Parkersburg now. Is that still there?
I'm sorry?
We do not have a manufacturing tax in the city of Parkersburg. Is that correct?
No.
That's correct.
Correct.
All right? We did that when I was on council the first time. Right? Now, I don't think we ought to tie any money up for an earmark. If we need it, we'll call, you can call finance meeting, we can discuss it, we can put it over with Eric, and go from there. We do not have to earmark anything. And that's my opinion.
Mayor?
You know, the more I think about this, if you want to park the money, it's fine, wherever you want to do it. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I would like to see, I think it would be easier for all of us and Ryan per se, you know, if you want to park the money, that's fine. That's not a great consequence to me. I stand by my previous comments with regards to what the population that SW serves. But wouldn't you, I'm gonna put you on the spot again if you don't mind, Zach. Mr. Huffman, wouldn't you like to see what the program looks like, what's eligible, what's not eligible? You know, just off the top of my head, I do not think that any city dollars should be used to pay back outstanding note. If someone says, well, I can get my $10,000 loan if I can pay off the last two from my old SB, you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are some things. I mean, you're a small business guy. You're a small business guy. I mean, I just can see, you know, that would be something that I think would be an ineligible use. We're not going to let you give you money to pay off one loan for what is essentially a grant. I think that sets a bad precedent. You know, would you want some kind of a business plan? I mean,
Right.
I don't, you know, what's your, I mean, and I think you can shortcut some of that by saying, you know, I've got a letter of commitment here, a line of credit from from a real bank, and, you know, put a package together, and before we just say, you know, because quite frankly, I mean, it's not a lot of money, and it's not, you're talking about, you want 2,500 to be the max, right? That's your intent.
Correct.
So I hope, has Ryan got his little notebook out, his little leather bound?
Nobody looks like he's thinking.
Yeah, so, I mean, I just think that, you know, it's a little bit of a cart and horse situation, because I do, and then I guess we would have to run it, and again, I'm not gonna ask him the answer now, but can we disqualify from eligibility? I mean,
Okay, I'm gonna keep my amendment to just put it in the contingency fund and we'll figure out all the details. That's my amendment.
yeah. Does that make sense what I'm saying though?
It
Like,
does.
I mean,
It does.
you know,
There's a whole process to it, the application, all of that, for sure.
So you're withdrawing your amendment?
The original amendment, yes. This is the amendment to put 10,000 into the contingency fund until all the details are worked out.
amendment and a second. Any discussion?
What are we voting on?
Well, so my understanding, and you can correct me, Mr. Huffman, is that you're voting to put 10,000 from line item, and I lost it here, SW,
I know what.
to the contingency. Yes. Now, here's, anybody have any discussion? I'll go ahead and jump in. I fully support what's going on downtown, and I appreciate Mr. Huffman and the initiative he's taken. I think it'll be a great program. My little bit of heartburn over it is the fact that we have nothing in writing. We have the money in the contingency fund, so I don't see at this point in time a need to take money from a line item to put into contingency when there's already money there. So my opinion is to leave the money in this line item. We have, as Mr. Giles said, 50,000. Once this program's rolled out, we can easily have a finance committee meeting, discuss it if it's agreeable to members of the finance committee, or just put it on the agenda with 3 sponsors, and we can pull that 10,000 from there. So I'm fully supportive of the program. I would like to see it in writing so that we all understand the ins and outs and any parameters of the program, and then at that point in time, take it from contingency. But it's my opinion that there's no need to transfer 10 to make it 60 when we have 50 and just waiting on the outline of the program. That's all I got.
Mr. President.
Mr. Huffman.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly, genuinely, because the way that I'm seeing it is, if we're just going to work with the contingency fund later, then isn't this full amount just going to SW? So it's not even really the same amendment at all. It's not taking from the line.
I could be wrong, and I apologize if I mischaracterized it. I thought your new amendment was to take 10,000 from the SW line item and put it into contingency. If that's not the case, then I apologize, but that's how I heard it, and that's what I was.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
So my comments still stand that if we have 50, there's no need to make it 60 and cut from a program when we haven't even allocated the 50. There's 50 there. If we want to use 10, we use 10 as soon as we get drafted or we can use 10 as soon as the program's drafted and agreeable and voted on and all that stuff.
Mr. President,
Mr. Craig.
I agree with what you guys are saying, exactly, I agree with the program too, I really do, I think now's the time to put the money towards it right now, instead of find out how we're gonna do it, how you guys are gonna do it, stuff like that, it'll happen, okay?
Well, can we still get did I get a second on my amendment from?
Yes, we have Mr. Huffman made a motion, Mr. Reynolds second. We're on the discussion phase. Anybody else have any questions, comments, discussion on this?
Mr. President,
Ms. Cool.
I have a question for Mr. Barber. Ryan, let's say we X-nay this, okay, it goes down, we don't appropriate any money. How long would it take you to work with Zach to come up with a program? You know what we're talking about, you guys have been discussing this for a long time, to get this initiated. And we can do a budget revision whenever this happens.
I think we could draft and present a concept of what a program could look like within a month.
Zach, are you okay with that, within a
I am.
month?
Yeah, I am.
And then, that way, there's no money's coming out anywhere, okay? But you have to withdraw your whole thing. Get with Ryan, get it together, work it out, and then take it to finance whenever you guys have worked it out, because I think it's a great idea. I really do. You know that. We've
Yeah.
discussed it.
So
So, why don't we just wait, work it out, then draw it up, send it to finance, you can present your own finance.
yeah,
So,
okay. Then I will withdraw the amendment.
okay.
You gotta withdraw the second first.
Mr. Reynolds, would you like to withdraw your second, or you want to keep it standing?
No, I'm just gonna stand. I'm kidding. I've always wanted to say that. I want to vote.
that contingency fund to do this, but, I mean, the 10,000 that I amended to go is, you know, I'm fine with that as long as it's a good faith effort. We're gonna use this in contingency fund and we're gonna work out the details with development. I'm very happy with that. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks for your efforts. Look forward to getting that rolled out. So we've withdrawn that one.
Budget voted down real quick.
Yeah, and it was mentioned just to, for everybody's information, it can go to finance or you can get 3 sponsors and get on the agenda. Do we have any other amendments that we would like tonight from council?
I'd like to ask a question.
Mr. Brown?
Lee County Rec, we got 60,000, then we had 10,000, and we also have 60,000 from Lee County Commission. That's $130,000. Okay? Where does this $60,000 go?
I can speak to that.
Mr. Mayor?
So the $10,000, talk about it first, that's from the opioid funds. That is specifically dedicated to the program that they still call Summer Adventures. It's the program, it's held at City Park. The kids get a meal. They get to go to the swimming pool at City Park for free every Friday if it's not ran. But more importantly, what they do in that program is there is daily built-in anti-drug education. Don't smoke, don't take pills, all that kind of stuff. Does police and fire both go to that at some point every year to talk about? I'll be honest with you, I went one time. Who's the police guy? Barnett? It was Barnett last 2 years ago.
Assign at least one, sometimes 2 officers to the parks during the summer.
Yeah.
And that's part of their weekly curriculum.
Yeah, and it's, you know, if you want to be a policeman, you can't use drugs. It's very focused on the anti-drug component. That's the part of that. The 60,000 is quite frankly for operations. They run, they'll have close to 1,000 participants every year, and it pays for officials, supervision at the different games. They buy every kid, if you sign up for, I don't know, your kid, does he do what Kenny Rick stuff?
He has. He's not.
I mean, what do they do? Small fry basketball,
volleyball,
all that kind of stuff. But it's operational funds. It pays for not volunteers. It pays for there's a supervisor, for example. There has to be somebody there if they're using a school gymnasium, they got to pay somebody sometimes they pay the school janitor, they pay the school. But the 60,000 is operational. It's a big operation. We had a board meeting today. I'm on the board. I'm council's appointment to the board. Taking anybody interested. It's going to meet at noon on Wednesday, whatever this is, second Wednesday of the month. But that program was in really bad shape during COVID. They had no money. They had low participation. I mean, since I've been involved and the city got back involved with some real funding, because we didn't fund them for a number of years. They started the summer tennis program. They run some introductory pickleball stuff. Now that's not really a youth program. That's more for adults, older people. But so you know that if you, like I said, I mean, close to 1,000 kids participate. Most of them participate for free. They don't charge. You know, there's you know, they have good relationships in the school system, particularly in some of the LMI schools. Jefferson being one, there's a lot of Jefferson kids that participate, and you know it's the meeting, one meeting a month that I look forward to because it's nothing but good news and kids participating. So it's they've had clean audits for the last 4 consecutive years. They hadn't had an audit done in about 9 years prior to 4 or 5 years ago, but it's a very active board. There's 3 appointments from the county commission, 3 from the Wood County Board of Education, and 3 from the city of Parkersburg. Your appointments, I'm 99% sure, are myself, David Poling, who is a resident in District 9, and Moshe's been gone for a while. I'll be honest with you, I can't remember. Maybe Goldsberry. Does Goldsberry live over by the golf course? Do you know where Golds lives? No. You don't know where he lives, or he doesn't live by the? I thought he lived over by South Hills Golf Course, somewhere in that. Anyway, but that's what those funds are for. I mean, that's been, they ask all the time, can we get more money? And I told them I'm not going to put any more in there, but it's I don't know how else to explain it, but they do, and they do some fun. They have some revenue generating stuff. If you got a little kid playing elementary basketball, you can pay $5 or $6 to get in, whatever. But I found out today the fishing derby committee elected to not have the fishing derby at all this year. I was hoping they'd just do it back-to-back weekends in Southwood. That's fine. It's their decision. But they give away a lot of free stuff at those things. I mean, I just think that program, in my opinion, has come a super, super long way since we started providing them some assistance. And they talked today. They do volleyball. They do small fry basketball. They started t-ball up. And I don't know. I mean, until last summer there was no t-ball program in Wood County. Until Wood County Rec stepped up and started t-ball again. I didn't know that.
My kids play t-ball.
Yeah, I think everybody play. I mean, yeah, that's where you started when I was a kid, was t-ball. I don't know.
Mr. President.
Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. McCready and I have been talking about something for a while. I know that he's been talking with the mayor. I'm going to propose an amendment. I know last year we gave Discover World money twice. We give them the regular money, and I think we give them another $25,000. But something needs to happen. There's a lot of really good things happening in our parks, but something needs to happen with holiday lights in the park. They are just really, in my opinion, they are really fizzling out.
No pun intended.
And I'd like to see them be a little bit more designed towards, like the holiday display that they have in Gallipolis. We have great trees, we have great buildings that could be decorated. There's lots of potential there. But my amendment is going to be to take $10,000 from 568105, that's Discovery World, and take $10,000 from that line item and put it into 568125, which is holiday lights in the park, but it will be earmarked towards improvements in the park, but it will need to be, it can't be spent on lighting fixtures like they have been doing. It's going to need to be approved by the city on where that money is spent, but it's going to go towards making that light display Christmas better and different and more like Gallipolis.
Second. We have a motion and a second.
Mr. President.
Ms. Cool.
Okay, I think we're putting the cart before the horse here, Mike.
There's no cart.
Dave hasn't even had a first meeting with them. We have no idea. I mean, although I agree with you, I mean, it needs revamped in the whole 9 yards, and we don't even know what the status is of Holiday in the Park right now. I know that there's been some resignations. I know that there is a new person in charge of this. Wendy, how much money did they have in Holiday in the Park? You were on the committee for 3 years. Do you know how much money they have?
I know what you mean.
Okay, well,
It's been a couple of years since I was on.
I heard that they had over $50,000. I don't know how much they have now. I think that we really need to give Dave a chance. He's got the name of a person
why don't we, here's the deal. So Holiday in the Park established their nonprofit, all that stuff. I'm just gonna be straight with you guys. I do not want to go and have to engage with them and say, we're gonna give you this money, but we're gonna tell you what it's spent on. Put it in the parks, whatever fund line item he says is the appropriate place, and the 9 of you, because I'm not a Christmas decoration guy, everybody knows it, the 9 of you can come up with some concepts. I've been to Gallipolis, I get it, but I think we just leave Holiday in the Park out of it.
Yeah.
If your purpose is to,
Yeah.
because they are committed to, you know, they're profoundly nostalgic about
Yeah.
the dragon, the sea monster, and the carolers, and the 12 days. So if and we've talked about this, we've talked about this, we've talked about this, we've talked about this. If you want the city to approve it, put it in the parks, where it would be then.
Supplies, no, put a note in there.
You see what I mean? So he just, and then.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then
That's
that's,
line item.
and then
Just
quite
keep Holiday
frankly,
Lights in the Park out of it. I guess that's kind of what I was shooting for anyway. I mean, I want us to have, you know, if this committee, if this council sits as a committee or makes decisions on where to spend that $10,000, I'd much rather be set up that way than give it to someone else that doesn't have the same vision.
So then that would be line item on page 50, Parks and Rec, 341. With a note, $10,000 for holiday lighting.
Yes.
So we had a motion and a second for the original line item. Can we just give an amendment to change line items on that, please?
I changed my motion, not gonna be, it still would come from 568, 105, Holiday Discovery World. It won't go to Holiday Lights in the Park, it will go to the Parks and Rec line item, 341.
Okay.
Does that have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second to move it from line item 568, 105 to line item 341, 000, an amount of $10,000. Open for discussion.
Mr. President.
Mr. Hubbard.
I agree with everything that was said, and I understand the mentality, but I'd encourage a yes on this because no matter who's doing it or how it's gonna be ran, we gotta have the money. We gotta have the money, and that still leaves Discovery World with $40,000. So,
I have an amendment to make also towards this. I have to wait till this is voted on, correct?
Not if it's on this particular one, you would need to amend
Okay, it is
this
on this
now.
particular
You would
one.
have to make the amendment now,
Right.
and then we'd vote on the amendment, and then we'd vote on the original
Okay.
motion.
Mr. President, I can make another amendment.
Ms. Cool.
I would like to take, I have to look up, Harry, you probably know. I would like to take $2,500 from the Wood County Rec for the fishing derby, because they're not having a fishing derby this year, and they still have the money from last year.
But this is for Discovery World, so this could be a separate motion. It would not need to be.
That's what I asked, it's gonna be a separate
I
motion.
thought you, okay, my fault, I misunderstood. We don't need it now, we haven't closed out the amendment process. We have one for, Discovery World. If you wish to amend the motion for Discovery World
No,
to,
I wanna take my own motion.
the parks supplies, then we can make an amendment on that. If it's not for that particular dollar amount from those two line items, then we'll have a separate motion going forward.
Okay, I'll do a separate motion, thank you.
Okay, I got a question.
Mr. Moore?
Okay, for the lights in the park, we're gonna need a lot more than 10,000. I know we ain't not right, don't have it right now, but we need to look in the future, cause it's gonna cost a lot to get the lights. I mean, we're looking at probably 50 to 100,000 to even get started. And I really would like to see that go. I don't know where else we can get the money for it, but this is something that would really help the public. quartered, because just for one of them that we were looking up was $25,000 to start with for the Christmas tree. Is that not right, Dave?
Yes, sir.
So 10,000 is not going to be enough. So as a council, we need to look into where else we can get it. So that is what I'd like to see later on, where we can get the money. So that is something to discuss for later.
Yeah, Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds.
there's, the administration, mayor, council has done such a good job, making improvements in our parks. And the way I see it, we're gonna have a beautiful wall and walkway around our pond, and maybe if we're lucky, we'll get a fountain. But there's a lot of improvements and improved buildings that are gonna be in the park that we could decorate, even if we just needed to decorate this for the first year to kind of build on it. But there's gonna be a lot of things that we could put Christmas lights on that look fantastic.
Mr. President,
Mr. McCready?
just to answer your question, Ron, I'd like to, we gotta get with this gentleman, I just got his number today, and I'll give the gentleman a call and find out where they are at.
Okay.
Everything we're going. And right after that, we need to get a steering committee together.
Yes.
And work this out, okay? And do that, and they're gonna be spending a lot of money. That's where we're at. That's where we're at.
I'm still.
I think the city can, we're at the point where we can get into something else, have to get sanitation bonds and stuff like that. We can get it right.
Can I ask a question?
Mr. Brown?
What kind of revenue are we talking about if we do the holiday and lights?
Revenue.
Well, I'm asking. Hey, we spent $100,000, we gotta have that.
We don't have any idea.
You're adorable, Brown. Look, pinch your cheeks, kiss you. Nobody gonna pay no real money for that to look at lights in a park. That's not the, get donations. That's what. I mean, that's what my mom. That's the highlight of her Christmas season. That and the holly trail.
Can you stand there with the cup?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You guys find, I don't know the new guy at Holiday in the Park. I'd love to sit down and talk to him, but there has been a very, the vision of that organization has been not congruent with the city, myself, and council for some time. And like I said, I said it before, they're profoundly nostalgic for all the way it used to be, and then the other piece of it is, and I know Mr. Reynolds will recall this, and probably, several of you others, but when Holiday in the Park started, it was 100% volunteer organization, 100%. So, I was involved. I think Reynolds Landscaping had a display out there originally. Every display you saw started out as the organization. Wood County Sheriff's Association, Parkersburg's FOP Lodge, all down the line, either built it themselves, paid for it, and to my knowledge, you never may or may not know the answer, I think the only one that still does their own is Tri-State Roofing and Sheet Metal. They built it 25 years ago. They come get it every year, first week of January. They bring it out during the setup time. Everything else has been transitioned to, it's the city's responsibility. Everett's guys go pick it up, set it up. We don't build the lights. We don't build the things, but we set them up. When they don't work, if they don't work, they don't work. I mean, the electric shop runs the electric, all that kind of stuff. I think, and those of you who remember the plans for the park building, this new vision for Holiday should start just there to the, let me get my directionals, between the pond, between the cabin and the new building, because there is how many stanchions for electric out there, Adam Everett, 9, 22, I can't remember. There's a bunch. There's power there, it's in the ground, that's where you start. You guys, because right now it's raw, there's nothing, but, so anyway, that's my take on that. But, is your amendment, sir, to put it in the park? Did he amend it?
I think they redid the original motion, it's $10,000 to move from, Discovery World to, Parks, Departmental Supplies 341000. I just, speaking on the motion, I'm all for Christmas lights, in case anybody didn't know. It's been a family tradition in my house, on 56th Street in Vienna. I just struggle with the idea of, cutting from something that I believe is a gem downtown, and something that's utilized by a significant number of youth here locally and out of town. And I just see it as a home run down there, Discovery World. I think we should fund light projects. It might be urban legend, but under a mayor many moons ago, it's been told that my father was asked to maybe get involved with the holiday lights in the park. So I certainly support it. I just have a struggle with moving it from the Discovery World line item to this. I think we should certainly look at funding it, but I don't know that I can get on board with moving it from the Discovery World line item.
And I agree with that. Mr. President,
Ms. Cool.
I agree with you. I'm struggling with it also. I don't like calling holiday in the park, but I think the revamping of the Christmas lights in the park is very, very crucial. But I have a problem with taking it from Discovery World. They do so much for our kids. They bring a lot to our community, and I'm struggling with that.
Do we have any other questions, comments, or discussion on this amendment to move $10,000 from Discovery World to Parks and line item departmental supplies?
Mr. President.
Mr. Huff.
Just lastly here, I would say I also don't love the idea of moving it from Discovery World. I recognize what it is, but I do think $10,000 towards the Christmas lights is going to be a lot more effective for them than it is going. I don't think that they're going to end up closing the doors or anything over a cut of 10. They still have 40, and I think let's slow it down.
Thank you, Mr. Huffman. Hearing no more discussion, Madam Clerk, the vote, please.
Mr. McCready? Mr. McCready?
Mr. McCready.
Yes.
On the motion.
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
10,000, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Ms. Tuck? Yes. Mr. Huffman?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Rexroad?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Polkowski?
No. Amendment passes.
Mr. President,
Ms. Cool.
I have one more amendment.
Okay, let's hear it.
I would like to take $2,500 from 568090, which was money that was allocated for the fishing derby this year. They have money from.
What page you on?
I'm sorry, 54.
Page 54, y'all. We got line item 568090.
$2,500 from that account. They have money when they have it for next year, and moved it to where we're moving the Christmas lights to.
No, wait a second. No, you're saying page 54?
I'm on page 54, Wood County Rec,
Okay.
$2,500 from 568090. If you go out to
You're on page
the
55.
destination.
It's on 55 on the other side.
Oh, I see. You're saying, you're under the description.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
I'm with you. Thank you.
you're welcome.
have a motion and a second to move $2,500 from Culture and Rec Grants, line item 568090, back to the line item we were just discussing in the Parks Department under supplies 341000. Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Well, the mayor has something to say.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I just want you guys to be clear, I want to be clear that the message I received at the rec board meeting today was that one of the reasons that they decided not to have or one of the message that came back from the committee, which is largely the Mace family, I think, the Maces.
Yeah, they did want to split it.
They didn't want to do it back-to-back weekends at Southwood. That's fine, but is that they're going next year? Their words, not mine. Bigger and better. So, and then the other piece of this, I'm not going to lose any sleep. You know, there's not going to be a fishing derby now. But keep in mind, this budget would be for the fishing derby
I understand.
that is not canceled. The other piece of it is we're going to have to. If you didn't read the social media posts, had a bunch of them screenshot sent to me. I murdered all the fish in the city park when we drank the pond. So you will see at some point, probably sooner rather than, I don't know, we may be able to get it out of park supplies, but we're gonna have to restock the pond when it's done, and it's gonna be, we're gonna be able to hold more fish because it's gonna be, Adam, if you had to guess, 2 feet deeper. 30 inches deeper. So anyway, but that being said, I'm okay with it. But
Well, just so that, you know, Mr. President, I spoke to Valerie about this, Valerie Mace, who does the fishing derby, her and her granddaughter, and she's okay with this $2,500 being removed right now.
What about the ducks?
they can fly.
How are they gonna get out of the pond?
Yeah, they can fly. I mean, it's $2,500. It's and I'll be honest with you, I don't know if they priced fish, but I'm sure the trout are going up. But anyway, I say vote it. I say vote it.
Madam Clerk, the vote,
I'm not
please.
getting a twist of it.
This is fishing derby the lights.
Yes, just to clarify, this is $2,500 out of the Parks Department, or I'm sorry, the general fund for culture and rec grants, line item 568090 on page 54, taking $2,500 out of that line item, moving it to page 50, line item 341000, departmental supplies, $2,500. Madam Clerk, the vote, please.
Mr. McCready?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Tuck? Yes. Mr. Huffman?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Rexroad?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Polkowski?
No.
Boo.
Amendment. Do we have any more amendments?
Motion to adjourn.
Well, so first we need to just, if we don't have any more amendments, everybody done with amendments? I want to make that clear.
I have like 5 more.
We good? No more amendments? Going once, going twice? So we're sitting as committee of the whole. So ask that we rise and report to City Council that we have finalized the budget with recommended adoption. So I would say we would need a motion to rise and report to City Council that we have finalized the budget and recommended adoption. Could I get a motion on that, please?
Motion.
Mrs. Tuck.
Move we rise and report to council that we've accepted the budget with amendments.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, the vote, please.
Mr. McCready?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Tuck? Yes. Mr. Huffman?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Rexroad?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Polkowski?
Yes.
Okay, so we're out of committee of the whole. Now we are sitting in city council. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the budget for fiscal year 26-27 as amended. Can I get a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Reynolds has a motion. We have a second. We have a motion and 2 seconds. Any discussion on that? Hearing no discussion, Madam Clerk, the vote, please.